It's a fun thing this thing does, where as soon as you start recording, the gain just goes fucking bananas. So, like it's a default setting where it's like maximum gain, right? You wanted maximum gain? Crank that shit up, crank that shit hose until it fucking falls apart. No, Jesus Christ, when did I ever say that? How we sounding? More like a human being?
That's a little better.
Okay, I'm gonna give it another couple of tugs. Okay, where are we at now? What do you think?
It's pretty good.
Literally every time I turn this fucking microphone, it sounds like, "Oh, you wanted that at max, right? Just fucking crank it all the way to the fucking to the highest setting possible." I don't know what it is. So it's been a big week for video games, right? Big game week, big game times, lots of game things happening.
I mean, maybe call it E2.5.
I'd say that's perfectly fair, given how like two of the presentations were not really presentations at all. Three, you know what? Two and a half prezzies were complete bullshit. I'm just gonna put it right up there, right up front. Two of those prezzies had no business being on anybody's fucking schedule.
Take
Maybe
two?
we all should work on that.
Straight up.
I would say between every presentation that I watched, either at the time or afterward, we probably got around one total good presentation. So I have issues with all of them.
That's fair. You know, you're a jaded industry veteran. You know, you find the cracks in the facade. Some of us just want to be entertained, and sometimes that happens. That was cool.
What's the matter with you? Honestly,
I still believe in the magic of E3. I don't know. I'm just not as angry as some of the other people on our Discord.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't call myself angry. It's just I wanted to be blown away like I've been blown away in the past. And maybe that's not possible anymore. But
maybe.
There was good stuff. Let's say that. Rhett, how are you doing? Are you ready to roll?
I've been talking the past 2-3 minutes. I dropped a couple of fucking fire jokes that y'all would have been splitting your sides at, but I guess none of that came through. So the moment's passed, and yeah, I'm doing okay. How y'all doing?
Doing all right.
Cool. The snowball mic sounds really nice. So
Yeah, it does.
for that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Very, very happy with it. Yeah. But yeah, ready to rock and roll whenever y'all are ready. I definitely got something to say about that Take Two presentation, or lack thereof.
Well, yeah. You know, why not? Let's start with that. I remember reading that some industry insider, somebody on the COG Twitter feed, I think, was like, "Hey, heads up, it's not a press conference. It's not the thing you're thinking of." Like they got a hold of the schedule. It's like, okay, and then they let this information out. Like this was made very public. Like I think the day before, where it's just like, "Hey, heads up, they're not showing games. That's not what they're doing this year." And then like an hour later, I saw a bunch of like analysis like articles and stuff like that. Here's what Take-Two might be showing at E3 this year. And I'm like, you guys should do a little more research before, you know, like
Check a fact.
I get that they probably had that prediction article in the pipes for like, God, like, I don't know, a couple of weeks. But then, I don't know, they must have felt real bad. But like, oh, we just published this and it turns out all of this is definitely wrong.
Well, just, you know, at that point, if you've checked a fact in general, maybe then just go ahead and schedule it in your WordPress, in your CMS for next year around this time. Go ahead and pre-schedule it. Just let it sit, because nothing's going to happen between now and then.
No, absolutely not.
But Rhett, you had some thoughts and some feelings about this.
Yeah, as a
Press
Red Dead
conference.
player, I knew that I should not have gotten excited for E3 when a week prior they announced just this little nugget of content that they were going to be releasing for Red Dead Online. Is why wouldn't they wait to talk about that at E3? I should have known that little snippet that they released, which is like literally it's a fucking a fraction of the pie, you know. It's they're baking a fraction of the pie with this update, and Take-Two should be embarrassed about that presentation, lack thereof. I'm all for, man. Jesus Christ, I don't even know what to say about that shit. The rumor was that they were going to announce 9 different remakes and remasters. They didn't announce anything.
How did anyone believe that, though?
Yeah,
well, I don't
they
know.
don't do E3.
Exactly.
They don't.
That's really what it is.
They aggressively don't.
Yeah.
They traditionally have a giant space in the middle of the E3 floor that's just this cube of offices where people are doing their normal jobs. Like, no one's taking appointments. No one's telling anyone about games.
No.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That was pretty much the beginning and the end of my E3 right there. I was so pumped up. Monday, I was counting down the days. Boom, boom, boom. This was dope. Switch Pro, all that bullshit. Xbox, Todd Howard's haircut. It all meant nothing compared to Take-Two's presentation of the future of Red Dead Online. And we got the opposite of that.
That's the story of the whole show a little bit, though.
Yeah. Actually, that's a great segue for the rest of this, yeah.
Here we are. We're at the end of day 1, and what's our big show for tomorrow? What are we going to see? Well, it's Verizon?
Oh, yeah, well, 5G presentation.
We're in fucking trouble, people.
Yeah. Come learn how 5G and the future of gaming will be coming together. That's cool. I don't plan on playing Forza 5 on a remote island in the Caribbean, you know? Y'all can keep it, Verizon.
Well, here's my theory as to why this E3 was a little bit subdued. See, last year was when we were all expecting to be like, oh man, it's peak pandemic time. People are having to work from home. It's fucking up their schedules. How are they going to do this? We were off. We were off in our schedules because what we were seeing was the beginning of people bitching about it being difficult to work remote. The fruits of that labor, or lack thereof, were not going to bloom until this summer. Because, like, that's how the games industry moves, is pretty slowly. And so, like, all of the, like, worries and wonders and, like, oh my god, how's the games industry gonna endure? All of that shit is coming home to roost now, this summer, like right now, because this is when they should have had all the stuff done that they'd worked on over the last year, but because they were doing remote, because there was like limited engagement, because like all these schedules were fucked around with, now we fully see and realize the consequences of having this like crazy bones year, is because like all of a sudden these companies are like, well, nah, man, we don't have a ton of stuff. And some companies whipped ass at this remote work thing, but some of them absolutely didn't.
Yeah, I think given that whole situation, the amount of output is pretty remarkable.
It is.
Pretty remarkable, just not top to bottom. But everybody had something that I was like, okay, all right, this is a thing that I'm going to be into. I'm going to give a shot.
Let me. I'm sorry, what was that?
I just was asking, you felt like that this year? Everybody had at least one thing?
Yeah, I think so.
What about Take-Two?
Well, Take-Two didn't
They
have
don't
a
do
presentation.
E3. We just had this talk. They don't do E3.
Okay,
and,
I see.
And much like this...
Yeah, no, I gotcha. I'm lumping them all into the same category.
Yeah, no, they're not. They took advantage of the increased streaming traffic to be like, well, we're gonna do this Prezi, we might as well make it public. You know,
Right.
that was basically a Zoom meeting that we were all invited to watch, and some of us did. I didn't, but
I
you
did
could do that.
actually. Yeah, all shit talking aside, I did hear that Take-Two actually had a good turnout for it, and the audience stuck around throughout most of it. So,
Well, if that's because that's the thing. If that's what you were looking for, if that's the sort of content you were interested in invest in, then it was probably a great presentation. But being burnt out already in 3.5 days of prezis and conferences, had no time for that shit.
Well, how many people that watched all the way through that were hoping just for the last minute Red Dead Redemption 3?
No, absolutely not.
Free. Just some content to online. That PS5 update.
Not happening, man. Not this year.
Just just an inkling that something was happening behind the scenes would have been nice.
What's happening behind the scenes is they're just busy counting their money from GT Online or GTA Online.
Dude, seriously.
And that's it. That's all they need to do.
Once they figured out that they could make GTA Online profitable, they were like, well, we don't really ever have to make a game again.
We're basically
not
done
like a
here.
new one. Yeah. They're going the route of Valve, where they're like, oh no, we have a steady revenue stream. We don't really need to do what we were doing before.
Yeah, that's fair.
Hey guys.
Yeah.
You know what? You know how I feel after this year's E3? Vindicated, because I fucking told you so. I fucking told you so. There wasn't a Switch Pro. Doo-da, suck my duck and get the fuck out of here tonight. There was no Switch Pro, bitches.
Nice. I like that.
It's great.
You're not wrong.
It's a great little jingle.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we start off by talking about Nintendo, because they didn't have a Switch Pro. They had a lot of filler. They spent, by my count, the first 8 minutes talking about a Tekken character coming to Smash Bros. Out of a 40-minute presentation.
Yeah, but what a character. It's about time. Yeah, I can see by the reaction.
Honestly, that trailer was really funny. I appreciated that. Him just slowly, steadily walking up to the cliff and throwing people over it. And then Kirby kind of playfully floats back up behind him. It's just
That's good shit.
Yeah. I didn't think we were ever going to see anything more about Advance Wars ever for the rest of time. But then they're like, hey, we're doing a full 3D remake of the first two games, which, guys, that's really cool.
Yeah.
These games are fucking rad.
Yeah, I'd be really curious to see how well they hold up compared to more modern tactics stuff. And especially things like Wargroove.
Yeah, that's a fair comparison. One kind of directly inspired the other. So
yeah,
you can now you have an opportunity to put them side by side,
exactly,
a little more presently.
Yeah, I'm into that. That's a good ad. That's like a side dish, though. That's something that's even if you're the kind of person who only plays a couple of games a year, that's not the game that you're like, oh, that's my game. I don't think. There's not that many people that would be in that camp.
Metroid Dread looks pretty rad.
Oh, yes. It does. When they started showing it as, this 2D Metroid, it's like, whoa, boy. There's a lot of games that are doing that really, really well lately. Got Hollow Knight, got Axiom Verge, there's things like Ori. They're all very, very good. And then they showed the gameplay, and I was like, fuck, yes, I will play this.
Yeah, because they're leaning into the atmosphere. Because it's like, not only is this a Metroidvania, because it's a Metroid game, you fucking clowns, but also there's spooks and scares. You're being chased around by this crazy monster, and it's gonna fuck you up if it catches you, and you can fight it, but it might not go great. And it's got real like it's like they're trying to lean kind of into the slightly spooky vibes of some of the older games, which I'm on board. Sign me up. Do it.
Also, by that point in the whole E3 cycle, I was fully jaded by the number of times I'd read 2022 all over everything. So when they stamped an October date on that, I'm like, yes, there's something to play this year.
That's fucking awesome.
So there's that. Love the new Samus suit, by the way. Looks really good.
It's good design.
Yeah.
Hey, so they showed off a cruising game, which like they're like, this is coming to the Switch, and the way they worded it kind of made it sound like it existed already, which is news to me. Not that I really follow the cruising franchise all that closely, but I kind of had no idea that a new game was a thing, and they dropped it like it'd been revealed elsewhere, but I've never heard a word about it. It looks really cool. Also it looks really cool.
Yeah,
colorful, fast-paced arcade action. You know, I'm into that.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't played a cruising game since USA
or World.
Yeah, like something on the
Cruising
N64 in any case.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, I'm a lot more excited about Mario Golf than I thought it was going to be.
That rush mode looks amazing.
Yeah, it's gonna be so good.
Yeah.
It's going to be so good.
And there's a career mode. Like, I definitely did not see that coming from a Mario sports game.
Yeah. Well, they used to do that back with the Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advance Mario Golfs. They actually had like a lot of content.
Crazy.
And that's kind of been the debate online amongst fans, is they're wondering if it's going to be as content heavy as the earlier games were.
It kind of seems like it.
But I don't know. Yeah, that rush mode seems pretty sweet. It really does seem pretty sweet. It seems like there's a lot to do there. It seems like, I'm not saying it's going to be a Mario Kart, but it at least looks like it could be addicting like Mario Kart is, Get 4 people together. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm into it. Okay. So during the Zelda portion of the presentation, talked a lot of shit, had a lot of things come up. One thing that they kind of breezed right by that I hadn't really read anybody talking about, to be fair, I haven't read a lot of articles about it, was they were like, well, you can use the motion controls when you're playing on a television or button controls when you're playing handheld. And I'm like, are those the only 2 options? Because if so, that means that I have to use my shitty Joy-Cons to play it on my television, which, since I'm probably going to be the person reviewing the game, because I love the franchise and believe in it and want it to be better at all times.
For clarity, we're talking about Skyward Sword, right?
That's right. We're talking about Skyward Sword. They had a control. Truthfully, I probably should have mentioned that. But they were talking about how you can use motion controls on the television or button controls on the handheld. And I'm like, is there not like a third option, like just never use motion controls? Because that'd be cool. I have a couple very expensive controllers I like to put towards that end, right? And it kind of seems like the thing they would do.
It does, doesn't it? Ugh. Actually, I'm not that upset. I know I'm not going to play this. There's no way I'm going to pick up Skyward Sword HD. Especially given some of the little clips they showed. The combat looks fucking ancient at this point. It looks so bad. Like, unbelievably so. Every other Zelda game holds up at least a little bit. Skyward Sword. If we redid our Zelda list in a couple years' time, there's no doubt that game's plummeting down the rankings.
Where'd we have it last time?
higher than it fucking deserved to be. That's where we had it. I'll tell you that
It's
right
like
now.
mid-pack, I think.
Not even looking at the list, and I know we put it too high.
I don't know. Still feel like we ranked Minish Cap way too low.
That's fair. That's fair. It's an evolving thing. It's a fluid, living entity. The Zelda rankings, and they will change with the whims of the people, and their new ideas. Still, Skyward Sword probably never going to be up there. And again, because I don't know that anybody else is going to volunteer to play that game, it might fall to me.
Sticking with Zelda, how about unnamed Zelda Breath of the Wild sequel? Looks gorgeous.
Two Breath, Too Wild.
Yeah.
Yes. Starring,
So we thought we were going to be
Tyreek.
able to play as Zelda. My guess is we're not.
No.
They 100% alluded to her being damseled in that brief clip, where it's just like, oh, she falls down a hole and you have to chase her, and all the gameplay shots are of you doing gameplay. So like, not playing as Zelda, which, okay. I love that Link has a cool cyber arm or a cursed arm or whatever, you know, but
Yeah, that one.
also,
I was just gonna say that one flamethrower shot was pretty rad.
yes. So here's the fun thing: is that in the promotional material in the trailer, you see Link with a cursed right arm, and then you see an arm that's all glowy and with cool ancient power shit, but it's not a right arm; it's a left arm, so it's somebody else, or he just has two wacky arms. Either way is fine, but like,
I saw somewhere someone was talking to somebody at Nintendo, and they haven't revealed the name of this thing because it will give away what you're doing in the game.
yeah.
And to me, that just screams, this is Breath of the Wild's Link to the Past moment where there's a dark world. So I'm guessing that we're looking at Mirror Link with the arm, the opposite arm having powers or whatever in the mirror world or the dark world.
I think because Breath of the Wild took a lot of its ideas from Skyward Sword. Like a lot of things that they did badly in Skyward, they did better in Breath of the Wild. And I think they're sealing that deal once and for all by giving BTWs, the fucking B2W, the ability to go up into the sky world, right? And you can just effortlessly, because there's a shot of him plummeting down to the ground from a great height, and it's very Skyward Sword-esque, and I feel like it would be a great nail in that goofy fucking game's coffin. And they're like, all the cool shit you could do in Skyward, you could now do in Breath. You never have to play that game again. Aren't you happy? Like, yes, actually, very much so. Thank you.
Negative. They're gonna connect the two. There will be content in Breath of the Wild 2 that you won't be able to access unless you play Skyward Sword HD.
Upload completed save data to get access to the air. To go above a certain
right.
height, you have to slap
there
the
is a-
data into your Sheikah slate.
There is an essential new game mechanic in Skyward Sword HD that they're locking behind an amiibo just for an extra twist of the knife.
It's horrible.
Fucking goblins.
That's hard.
It's like a fast travel or something, and it's just like you can't access it
No.
without the fucking amiibo. And it's just like, how about you go fuck yourselves? How about you just give us that power? This game is 10 years old. How well do you think it's aged?
Straight up.
Oh no,
You guys.
like, listen, if you buy this $25 amiibo, you only have to play this game for half as long because you can fast travel.
Yeah.
I could see them taking that stance of like, you only have to play it for half as long, knowing full well that nobody wants to be stuck in that Skyward Sword world for the 70 or 80 hours it will take you to review it, James.
What? Fuck no. I've already beaten it before in the original version. It's not that different.
We'll see about that.
I'm telling you now, if someone was to come at me for it, we're like, no, it's the same game with better textures and a fast travel option I can't unlock because I didn't buy the fucking amiibo.
You're going to be, just wait, you're going to be stuck in some temple in the middle of your living room, swinging your arms around with the motion controls. Fuck! Because you have no option. Because you can't use buttons.
If they do that where you can't use regular controls while you're not in handheld, I will play it with motion controls just long enough to get some capture footage and never do it again. They can fuck all the way off. I'm absolutely not engaging. But they're so good now.
I want a solid 60 to 70% of your video review to be not of the game, but of you completing the motion controls with flourish.
Yeah. You're going to need to set the tripod up for this one.
Yeah. It's just like...
There you go. That's right. Warm up. Get warm.
Just really feel out the space.
Yeah.
Also, all of my Joy-Cons have the drift on them, which is why I don't use them anymore. So that option's right out. I can just it's just like, I mean, not that you really do much with the sticks in that game anyway, so it didn't fucking matter. But
if you're ever interested, I can fix those for you. Let me know.
I mean, generally.
I can do it. I'm sure I could get it done faster than Nintendo would.
Yeah, probably.
You're basically a Switch repair shop at this point, Rhett.
Man.
Delaminating screens and...
The next project is to rip up the DualSense. We'll do the touchpad. We'll definitely do the back because the white... Like, I clean myself, but that white still gets dirty. I swear to God. Yeah, like, there's nothing I can do about it. So, I will have to make some adjustments there. Yeah, the red and black ones that they released are sexy, but I think I could do something a little bit nicer. Put some LEDs in there or something.
Wow.
Any other highlights from the Nintendo Prezi?
I mean, there's Shin Megami Tensei 5. That's totally not my jam, though. I absolutely zoned out when I was watching that part.
They're good games, but that part of my life is done.
I don't even know.
I just can't go back to that place anymore.
Yeah. It's a game. This is the 5th iteration.
Cool.
Yeah. That's
right on.
It's actually kind of disheartening because it's like the same mechanics as it's been for all the games, but like just slightly modified. It's like a Dragon Quest style thing where it's like it's not really different. So that's cool, I guess.
That's a bummer.
Well, it's just the strength of that series. If you're into it, you love it a lot. You never want it to change. If you're not, you get over it really fast.
Yeah.
Just how it goes.
Why don't we move on and talk about Xbox? Because they had far and away the most robust showing out of anybody who did a thing, save for Take-Two. Obviously, they did a lot at E3 this year. But Xbox, as many predicted, there was a Todd Howard sighting, and Todd was talking Starfield.
He was talking Starfield.
We got a date.
I had a buddy who was like, I guess I got to buy an Xbox now. Like, okay.
Hold up. We know literally nothing about this game. This could be Bethesda makes No Man's Sky. We do not know at this point.
Straight up. Like, you know it's going to be janky as fuck. You know it's going to have that classic Bethesda rough around. Yeah.
So
exactly.
That part might be questionable. Because they did say that this is using a new engine. Creation Engine 2.
Jesus, it's so overdue.
Which would be, the first time they've done that in what, like 25 years or something?
And I mean, they do a close-up of that pilot's face, and it doesn't look like it's been mangled by a chainsaw. So it's definitely not their old engine.
Yeah. Does the
Can't be
expression
mad.
resemble somebody on a fistful of Quaaludes? That's a Bethesda game.
Classic.
Oh, Jesus.
Love the lewds.
Yeah, they must. I don't know. I can't think of a different explanation.
I mean, they didn't show that much of this game. You know, it's obviously just cinematic, whatever. They said in engine, not what it was running on or anything. But I mean, the environment looked sharp. All the materials looked really good. It looks like a big step forward from what they have done in the past. Red, are you just tag teaming that Ryan Koch? Left
Yeah,
and right?
Hey, you know.
he's
Hey, it's
doing
E3,
a
baby.
Woo!
It's celebration time, isn't it?
It's a deconstructed Ryan Koch.
Yeah. Fully deconstructed.
You do one and then the other. Then you suck in an ice cube afterwards. Really get the full effect.
Oh, nice.
Get all the
nice.
pieces.
Sorry to interrupt, though.
Oh no, I just caught sight of what was going on and had to comment.
Yeah.
But yeah, it remains to be seen what this is all about. But I'm actually glad to see that it's an Xbox exclusive because they desperately need things to draw people to the platform outside of Game Pass.
They do.
Sure. And they did have a couple of home runs, I'd say.
What was
Forza
the home
being
run
one
for
of
you,
them.
Rhett?
Forza Horizon 5. Holy shit, that looked good. Beautiful.
Yep.
Oh man, I loved how the footage kept switching between, like, it looked like they were just showing you like photo mode or something, and then it just fluidly cuts to the car ripping by, and we're right into the gameplay. And man, they put that trailer together really well. I think I'll probably have to buy an Xbox for that game. It looks really fucking good.
Yeah. One thing I really liked about that presentation in particular, and something that broke up the flow of the rest of the show, and I like that, is that they had the game director on there. He was talking about why they did this game, what's important about this game, why we should care about this game. Almost the whole rest of the Xbox presentation was just trailer. And that's great to a point, but sometimes you've got to punctuate it a little bit. And I wish they did that more. But Forza it's absolutely the showpiece. Fucking gorgeous.
Holy shit, that looks so good. Mexico looks like it's going to be the best Forza map yet by far, as far as, you know, the biomes and the diversity in the locations. Yeah, it's looking like it's going to be pretty sweet. The only thing one thing I was just like, yeah, they really could have left that shit, was right at the end when they were showing off the, like, games that they were bringing to it. They had the bowling, and they had Smash the Pinatas. Everybody's ripping around smashing pinatas. That kind of shit, I'm like, you know, save it for Mario Kart.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I can't wait for that.
The one thing I would say, and this is a complaint that I had about this entire show, is that there was no consistency about what we were looking at this game running on. A lot of the presentations said captured in engine or captured in game, but they never said, with the exception of Flight Simulator, I think, captured in 4K on an Xbox Series X. So things like Halo and Forza, it said captured in game, but what are we looking at this on? Is this on some bomb-ass PC rig? Maybe.
Yeah.
It's really hard to say if that's the experience you can look forward to on an Xbox when they don't go out of their way to say that. And that's something that Sony has been really good about saying, specifically captured on a PS5.
That's a really good point. And you got to figure that this was supposed to be, you know, the Xbox Series X's really, like, coming out party. You know, it was supposed to be what got everybody on the system. So you would think that at the start of every single trailer, all footage captured on Xbox Series X.
Mm-hmm.
Strange. That's a good point. Good eye catching that.
Like, I'm quite confident that Forza Horizon is going to look fucking incredible on a Series X. Yeah. And Halo is probably going to look really good on a Series X. but we don't have that litmus test after this event saying, wow, I know that the thing that's sitting under my TV over there can do this. Or is it going to be, half frame rate or something? It's possible.
Yeah.
Hey, so speaking of Halo, I don't have the visual language or the experience to really know if they made a whole lot of leaps and strides in that front. Like it looked better to me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know shit about fuck when it comes to Halo. What about you guys? What would you think of the Halo section?
Halo's Halo. It looked like Halo.
Yeah, I don't know.
And again, I'm a little bit more experienced with it, I guess, James. I've certainly, been around the block, but I really looked just like any other Halo.
Yeah, the multiplayer sure looked like Halo. And I think that's good. I think that's what we're looking for, especially now that they're going free to play. That's going to bring a lot of people into that ecosystem.
I was going to say, I'm sure that's exactly what the vast majority of that fan base wants, is just give us Halo 2 multiplayer and we'll be happy.
Yeah. I will say I'm quite concerned they didn't show more of the campaign. They showed a couple of cutscenes, but again, not running on an Xbox as far as we can tell. As far as I know, there's zero footage out there, period, of this game running on an Xbox. A little bit concerning. Didn't see any campaign gameplay. Holiday is very vague.
I think they did that deliberately. I think the multiplayer is pretty much ready out of the box to rock and roll, like probably soon, like now almost.
Yeah.
But like I think the story mode is like, yeah, maybe.
They're still hiring the voice cast.
Yeah, I liked how they specifically pointed out that they've now we've got Joseph Staten back. He's the creative director of Halo Infinite. He's the 8th one. Yeah. And the game's coming out this year, but
yeah, that's
he's
never
back.
good, guys.
Man. I do have serious concerns about the campaign, but I think the multiplayer is going to be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of the whole Jack Sparrow thing in Sea of Thieves?
So that is fucking awesome. A great collaboration. The game is not going to get any better having Jack Sparrow and friends and company involved. There's a reason why Sea of Thieves still isn't catching on. Like, yeah, it's a lot better than it was when it launched, but it was really bad when it launched, and being a lot better now still isn't that good. There's really not much to do. There's not much content. I don't know. The best looking water in the industry can only get you so far. That's all I'll say.
Here's my interjection. It used to be that if I didn't know anybody who played a game, or if I didn't hear any buzz about it, I'd be like, nah, fuck it. It don't matter. It's out of the running. It's not relevant. This is not true. I've learned the error of my ways. Just because I don't play a thing or I don't know anybody who plays a thing doesn't mean that 500 million people aren't engaging in this thing on a regular basis. There's a whole goddamn European Chinese games market that's doing huge numbers every dang day, all the time, that I'm not privy to. Or like children's games like Roblox or whatever. That shit is like the gross domestic product of a country or two in fucking yearly income. It's just not a world I'm part of. So I'm willing to accept that there are people out there playing Sea of Thieves, even if I don't personally know one of them. But I don't.
Right. Well, I mean, there's still people playing Black Ops 3 on the PS3. You know? This dedicated group of fans will always be there, regardless of whether or not Jack Sparrow is coming to the game. And you know what they should really do with that? Because nobody's buying an Xbox to play Sea of Thieves. They should release that on other consoles. They should release that on PlayStation. They should, not on the Switch, but you know what I mean.
Imagine the resolution of that game on a Switch.
The water just becomes like a solid block, essentially, that you're just hopping your way through.
Personally, I thought that whole section looked absolutely horrible. I thought it was, it's been done so many times. I thought the sound alike sounded like shit. I thought the animation was really overdone. It's an obvious connection to make, an obvious path to follow, collaboration wise. But for me, I was like, why move on from this?
Excuse me.
You're not going to pull anybody
Jack
new into this fold with this. People who already play Sea of Thieves are gonna enjoy it. But is anybody who bounced off of it in 20 minutes because they figured out how to sail the ship in 6 minutes and shot a cannonball and they were done gonna come back? I don't think so.
Is that actually Johnny Depp doing the voice?
No way.
No way. You don't think so?
They would have called that out so loud, so proud,
No
100 times.
No, because there's been a lot of controversy surrounding Johnny lately. So they probably, they have to get the voice, because Sparrow's not Sparrow without the voice. But they probably didn't want to, And plus, Johnny hasn't done anything in a while. They needed to throw him a bone.
I think if it is him, that's a bad look because he shouldn't work anymore. The motherfucker needs to just dry out at a resort for the rest of his life and just not be around human beings for a while, okay? The man is deeply unwell and, like, a lot of time needs to pass before he can fucking return to civilization.
What? Where is this coming from?
What do you mean, where is this coming from? The motherfucker is so drunk on set that he has his lines taped to the back of people's fucking shirts because he refuses to memorize things. He's impossible to work with on set. He's an abusive piece of shit, married to another abusive piece of shit, to be clear. And, like, just not somebody that the industry needs to indulge in anymore.
And it'll land on someone that's drunk on set. Johnny ain't the first. He won't be the last.
He should be. He should be the last. We shouldn't do this anymore. It's not a good look. We shouldn't do it, okay? It's not cool. It's not sexy. It's not good, all right?
Yeah,
show up sober. Sexy. Do your fucking job.
Y'all see that picture of him where he's, like, lacking his adrenochrome? Man. Yeah. Wild, spooky stuff. Anyways, moving on. Yeah. Sea of Thieves, dead in the water.
Hot takes.
Redfall looks cool.
You know what's not dead in the water, though, is you mentioned it earlier, that Microsoft Flight Simulator. That coming to Xbox, that's another one. I'd be willing to fucking, well, maybe not buy the Xbox just for that, but when I have it, I will certainly get Flight Simulator for it. It looks gorgeous. Man.
Well, that's a good point about the Xbox ecosystem, because, Rhett, once you get an Xbox, you get all these games. Anything Xbox makes, you just get Game Pass and you get everything. It just
works. Yep.
It just works. Except Starfield. It will not work.
No, Jesus, no. It's the first game we're making with the new engine. What's that fire you see? Nothing. Don't pay attention to it.
No. There's going to be so many floating NPCs and shit. They're going to be all over the place.
If you want to cosplay a character from Starfield, you have to T-pose the entire time. Otherwise, nobody will believe it's that character.
So one thing I want to talk about that I think maybe was the most interesting thing I saw out of maybe any show is a little pixel art game called Replaced.
Holy shit, yes.
And it looks phenomenal. Oh my god, it is so my aesthetic.
It's the most beautiful pixel art game I've ever seen. It's not close. Like, it's not.
Yeah. And for people who haven't seen it, it's kind of this cyberpunk vibe, and everything animates really, really smoothly. The camera is very flowy. You know, it seems like it's running at 60 frames. Everything except the sprite-based characters. And it looks like they've got a ton of frames of these sprites but the animation is just chunky enough that it looks retro, but inside of this beautifully rendered, well lit, and
perfect ray tracing lighting effects.
Yeah,
just
Fuck,
beautiful
looks-
effects
Holy
on every shot.
yeah. Rhett's looking
This
at
is
it
crazy.
right now. Oh,
Man, this is crazy.
God damn!
Ooh, holy
And-
shit. Yeah. Okay.
And that trailer went a lot of places. If it was just walking around in those worlds, I was gonna be cool with that. But the combat looks pretty compelling. I will be following that one quite closely.
Yep.
Big win.
Yeah, this will be a day one. Oh, the snap and the shot to the back of the head. Yeah, no, that's going to be a day one for sure. I don't even need to see the whole trailer. 60 seconds, sign me up.
I was just gonna say about Microsoft Flight Simulator that I'm very impressed that they're getting it to run on an Xbox Series X. That game, when you see it in action, you're like, oh, this melts the computer you play it on, right? Like that's what this is for. This is something you use to melt your computer when you don't want it anymore. And it's running on a Series X, which I thought was cool. B, who is it for exactly? Who is their intended audience? Because it's not really a game.
Pilots.
It's literally a flight simulator. So like if you're a pilot or a flight enthusiast, that's cool. But if you are, you probably have the game on PC. Like it's just weird that you would migrate it to a system with the control. I get that they want to boost the install base, but it's just like, you know what I mean? Like it's so granular and realistic and specific that it seems kind of blasphemous and fucked up to play it with a controller. I don't know.
That's actually exactly what I said after I watched the trailer was, yeah, I love it. I want to get it, but actually, why would I get it without a flight stick? Why would I get this game to play it with a controller? So, yeah, I'm with you on that.
I don't know.
What's interesting about Flight Simulator to me is that like if you want to simulate flight, it's the thing to do.
Yeah.
But if you're wanting to play a game, yes, they've pulled some very specific moments out of the game to put into these trailers. You know, you're flying under the Golden Gate Bridge, or you're flying through this jungle in the Caribbean, or whatever you're doing. But those moments are so few and so far between when you're flying a fucking plane, because you got to take off from the airport and fly 35 minutes to get to the bridge or to get to that jungle. And during a lot of that time, you're kind of idle. Yeah, you can look around at the scenery and stuff, but you know, if you take off from a big city, you're just looking at a city. And yes, it looks gorgeous, it looks amazing, but it's not fun. And
So
I'm curious if they're trying to address that with that Top Gun stuff, because okay,
Totally.
that looks more fun.
It looks way more gamey, or at least it seemed like they were trying to present it as much more of a game.
Mhm.
With, you know, you're flying around with your friends, everybody's fucking having a good time, and yeah, they definitely made it seem like it's much more of like a social kind of experience.
yeah.
With that being said, straight up, like there's going to be times where you literally have nothing to do but hold down gas, whatever, throttle. So
You just set autopilot, man, and it fucking flies the plane
Man,
for you once you're at altitude.
you flip on the autopilot and you get one of the flight attendants to bring you a few of those mini vodka bottles.
Hey, so what'd you guys think of Back for Blood? And they showed that during the Microsoft showcase.
Mint.
I think it looks fun as hell.
Yeah. At first I was like, oh, it's by the same people who did Left 4 Dead. Is it going to be kind of like it? And then they showed some gameplay. Like, oh, it's just another Left 4 Dead game. Okay.
Straight up.
It's Left 4 Dead 3.
Yeah, that's what it is. They have to call it something different because it's not being done through Valve, I guess. So they're like, no, but now it has to be this. But it's just Left 4 Dead.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching the trailer. I was thinking, what is the difference here from Left 4 Dead? And, you know, is it more serious maybe? It seems like maybe it's not quite as tongue-in-cheek as Left 4 Dead was. But then there's a couple of shots, like there's one of the guy laughing hysterically while he's shooting a machine gun. I was like, okay, no, this is the exact same tone and aesthetic.
They
really just wanted to make another one of those.
Which is fine. Yeah, which is totally fine.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it looks
means.
like better. It looks like all of Left 4 Dead, just better. You know, everything looks great. Visuals look great. The gunplay looks great. It looks really satisfying to be shooting the zombies, you know, popping heads and everything. That looked really satisfying. So, yeah, sign me up.
Although, and this is pivoting away from Xbox for a hot second, I thought that between that and Rainbow Six Extraction, I'd probably rather play Extraction. That looked pretty damn satisfying when they were popping some headshots, and I don't know.
Listen, Rhett, I don't know if you ever played Rainbow Six Vegas, but like that shit was really fun.
Terrorist
it was
hunt
really
mode,
good.
baby.
Oh, yeah, was
so
it Aliens?
Good. Yeah, man. Sure, whatever. It's the same team doing the same cool shit, but just like with a different skin on it. Like, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, no, I played Terrorist Hunt, but not about the setting. The setting just does not do it for me.
Okay.
I'm kind of curious how much variety there's going to be in the, you know, the descent into, you know, the nest of the aliens. Is it all going to be that kind of creepy lab aesthetic, or are there going to be twists on that?
I would hope so, because otherwise he'd be like, you know, kind of over it, right?
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of Ubisoft, what did you guys think of that crazy sport game? The one where you're like, it's a big open world and you're boarding and you're biking and you're squirrel suiting. I don't know what those things are called. It's not a squirrel suit. What is it called? Wingsuit?
Yep. Wingsuit.
Wingsuit. Okay. Do the wingsuit. That looks shockingly fun.
Yo, that's like the logical extension of what they did with Steep. And
yeah,
Steep was a highly underrated game. If you could get into
really
the mechanics a little bit there, it was a little bit janky. It was a lot of fun. And I think this is taking that to where it needs to go. I think mountain biking is a great vehicle for that, given that you can get around pretty fast. You can go uphill.
It bums me out that when Ubisoft teams want to do cool shit, like do wild shit and get a little out there, do something a little different, they're so good at it, because so many of their games are just pulling from that same list of building blocks. Like even when I was watching Extraction, I was like, oh, you can literally see animations and actions and moments that are like, that's basically just right out of a Far Cry game.
Yeah.
Or that's just basically right out of a different Rainbows. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like all their games kind of blend together, and like I feel like once Far Cry and Assassin's Creed took off, it was just like, you now know roughly what every Ubisoft game is going to look like from now until the end of time. And it's just like, people are like, what are the graphics like? It genuinely doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I was a little bit iffy on Riders Republic when they're talking about, here's trick attack mode and turn all the things blue and this and that. And then they said the thing that I was hoping they would say, or if you just want to relax and check out the scenery. I was like, yes, I do want to do that. That was, I still fire up Pilot Wings 64 from time to time just to fly around as the bird, because that's very soothing and a lot of fun.
I love the idea that like you're earning currency towards your other shit just by like checking out landmarks and going there. That's like when you explore in like the Spider-Man games. It's the same thing. You're just going places and you're getting rewarded for it. And it's just like, that's awesome.
As long as that traversal all feels good, you know, if the jetpack feels good and the wingsuit feels good and the mountain biking actually looked pretty compelling. Some of the downhill stuff looked pretty intense. I don't know. I'll play that.
I'm a huge wuss, and if I can do that vicariously through a video game, sure, man. I'm up for it.
No doubt. Sticking with Ubi, Mario and Rabbids 2.
Um, honestly, I don't have a lot of hype for that game, but I played the first one for review for the site. It's really fun. And if they make like even like a couple improvements to it or
Yeah,
add some new shit or like any of that, like I'm telling you guys, I'm telling you right here from experience, it's gonna be a good game.
absolutely.
First one was awesome.
The first one was awesome with a couple of caveats. You know, there was a couple things where it's like, it's just isn't that fun. It seems like they're addressing that. Like the free running in battle seems like a massive improvement. That'll be way more fun, more tactically flexible in a way that I wanted the first game to be.
Yeah.
I'm actually playing it right now. The first game.
Oh,
I was gonna say the second game. Wow, fuck, man, how'd you get that?
Yeah, no. Friend's cousin's brother works there. Hooked me up.
Your uncle at Nintendo.
yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I'm early on, but yeah.
Love that
well
Luigi is a
animated.
sniper.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Get him getting in there, lining up his shit, making it happen. That's awesome. Those are good games.
The other thing I wrote down from Ubisoft was the Avatar game.
Oh yeah.
Why does this
Okay.
franchise live? James and I were talking about this. What is the deal?
Well, Jimmy Cameron wants to. Well, he's got 4 more movies in the can that he's in the middle of doing post-production for. I don't know how many of them he shot, but he's done a bunch of shit for them.
But the one
and it'd be a
movie
great-
was like 3 times longer than it needed to be. It was more than enough Avatar.
Yeah, it was. And I don't know what they're gonna do with the narrative that's gonna make it 4 more movies compelling. It sort of seems like James Cameron is like, yeah, this is just rich or poor. This is how I'm retiring. Like, this is my last project, and then I'm fucking out. Like, it's just like, it's like, what if you don't make any money? I'm still done.
Wow, they gave me a lot of cash to do these 6 movies. Holy shit.
Yeah.
So he just shot them all at once, like a fucking lunatic.
That's wild, man. It is wild. I don't know what this game is going to be about, but made by the people who made The Division. Division's a great game.
Allegedly.
Yeah, like it's probably going to be a fine game. I just don't understand why it has to be Avatar. I don't understand why Avatar has to still be in the public consciousness. They don't, like, nobody gave a shit about that movie once it ended its theatrical run. It came back for like a minute as like a meme because like it was gonna get surpassed by Endgame as like the movie with the biggest box office. And so James Cameron was like, let's do another theatrical run just so I can beat those fuckers at Marvel. Didn't work. That was the last we should have heard of Avatar for the rest of human civilization. But no, he's still trotting that fucking horse out with his 4 sequels thinking, oh, perhaps if I do these movies again, then I can capture some of that magic where people thought it was cool. It's like, no, James, we always thought you were cool. You're insane. You do things to sets and to movies and to actors that should be illegal and probably actually are. You're awesome. You don't need to do this.
For those who are unaware, James is referring to the time that he basically drowned people on the set of The Abyss.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah. He's a sociopath who probably shouldn't have a job, but he does.
Hey, also, fun fact, Avatar came out in 2009.
Yeah. Yeah. The trailer for this game looked so fucking uninspired. Like I felt like I was just watching footage from the first movie. There was nothing new going on, nothing interesting. It just looked like the same old shit. You got the blue guys, you got the military dudes. They're shooting, they're flying around.
Now you get to be the white savior. You get to fucking.
Yeah, now you get to dock with other alien life forms.
Yeah, you get to have them to do the magic docking sequence.
Oh yeah, in the fucking field with the jellyfish.
Yeah,
so that shit's magical, obviously. And,
put our hair dicks
cool.
together, and then we'll see God.
Oh yeah, big time. So,
yeah,
like a bunch of bullshit. Is James involved in that game in any way?
No,
he's
busy making 4 movies.
Yeah, he ain't coming down to the studio like, hey guys, listen, this is my baby. You don't shit on my franchise. I want this game to be just as important, just as big as the 4 movies that I'm currently working on.
No, he's an old school director. That means he abuses his actors. He does anything he can to make the movie the best, and he does not give a single fuck about video games. That's what being an old school director means.
No, dog, I heard James Cameron plays Red Dead Online.
In a dream you had recently where you wanted to grasp at relevance for this game franchise you refuse to let go of?
This is serious.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Sure.
No, this is serious. James, he did a whole thing about it. He loves that game. Plays all the time.
James Cameron and me are the 2 guys who still love Red Dead Online. That's right. We're the diehards. We'll never let this one go.
I mean, like, we've posseed up here and there, but it's not like we play all the time.
Not ever since your streak was broken, huh, Rhett?
No, definitely not. He was laughing at that too.
I mean, I will say about James Cameron, he did create perhaps the greatest film ever created, that being Terminator
Titanic?
2 Judgment Day.
Oh, right.
That movie is incredible. It's so
like
good.
it a lot. I do like it a whole lot.
That's the one where Arnie hits you with the thumbs down or the thumbs up as he's going down into the lava, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Money.
Prime
money. That is good shit.
I saw that movie when I was like 8 years old. I was too young to watch Terminator 2. It was so good.
When the stepmother gets impaled through the mouth in the milk carton by the T-1000. That's perfect kids content.
Yes.
Definitely.
Anyways,
have a
video games.
Video games.
A couple other things I think we should touch on in this podcast, and one of those things is Elden Ring.
Yeah.
That trailer was rad.
Yeah.
Really good. And almost better than the trailer was how fucking excited Jeff Keighley was to present it. He was basically pooping his pants on stage the entire time leading up to that. He was like, Elden Ring.
Yeah. Come on. Like they get George Martin to write a thing, you know? He came out of his hidey hole. He did a script for a video game, and it looks like a really good video game.
Okay, but did he write it, or is it George R.R. Martin in the way that Hans Zimmer scores 300 movies a year?
Oh,
with
the second
cast of composers that write things under the name Hans Zimmer.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe he wrote it. It sounds pretty cool. I like the lore. I like kind of the high fantasy spell-driven stuff. That horse jumped up a cliff. That looked awesome. However, it's still a Souls game, and I know that means I'm going to bounce off it.
Yeah, I'm probably not going to play it. I recognize that it's a good game, though, you know. But I'm an old man. I'm an old man, and I like to relax when I play video games. I like to chill out. I like my chill gaming time. and Souls games do not do that. They don't have that for me.
Yeah, I want to lean back. Anytime I'm leaning forward, working too hard.
Yeah.
Maybe for a few minutes, boss battle, something like that. I don't want to lean back again.
Yeah.
Yeah, serious time.
I have a real ass office job I go to every day. I want to come home. I want more stress. I want more stress in my life. No. What? Chill out. Plant a garden. Jump over a pit. You know. Do an RPG. I don't want to fuck around with this nonsense.
Do a casual role playing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, a few more things to cover. We're definitely not going to get through all this stuff. We're gonna have to.
That's fine.
We're gonna have to come back next podcast and get to some of this other stuff. But I feel like we should touch on Square Enix before we pack it in.
Okay. Yes. So, the thing that I want to know the most about
Guardians of the Galaxy?
No, fuck off. I don't care. I don't care.
James, but wait, what if we told you a little bit more about Guardians of the Galaxy?
What if I fired all of you from your jobs that I don't control? What if I just volunteered to have you all not have jobs anymore for making me sit through 11 more minutes of Guardians of the Galaxy? And you're fucking I don't care that much. You know what I did notice about that game is that when they were showing the gameplay footage of them in battle, the quips per second rate was so high it was almost fatal. Like every second that you could hear people talking, it was them saying something witty about the guy they were beating the shit out of. Every second it was like a constant stream of like, oh, look at this guy, he's tough, look at you doing your thing, look at me doing this, oh my god, holy shit. And they just never ever stopped. It was like, it's the cool thing about the Guardians of the Galaxy movies is that they had pacing and that people weren't like talking over each other in a torrent of bullshit when they were trying to just take a bad guy down. Usually the only person speaking was the soundtrack, and that was rad. Not this fucking waterfall of sludge, which is the dialogue. Like, fuck off.
But James, what if I told you that you get to be Peter Quill?
They did. They told me several times. They were very proud of that.
Oh, really? Did they mention that? Okay.
Yeah.
Five. Okay. Well, what if I told
times.
you that as Peter Quill, you get to do Peter Quill stuff?
Jesus, they had no idea how to do that presentation. They had no idea what to say. It was just like somebody handed them the microphone. If they're in the middle of a nightmare, they forgot their pants. They hadn't studied for the test all semester. Fuck.
I feel like that game is probably going to be okay. It looks
be fine.
It's very obviously based on the Avengers engine and will play a lot like that game.
Yeah.
But I really hope you aren't stuck just playing as Star-Lord.
Yeah, come
on. I want to be Groot. I want to do some like acrobatic rocket launcher stuff as Rocket.
No, there'll be some cool things that make it better than Avengers, but you will definitely see a lot of bullshit that really doesn't make it worth your time.
I really hope they weren't like 75% of the way into recording this game before the reaction to the Avengers game came out, where people were like, whoa, that's a really bad Robert Downey Jr. impression. And I hope this is not that, although it kind of seems like it might be.
It's one of those things where, like, in the Avengers game, they mostly weren't really trying to imitate the movie characters, which I appreciated. It's just that you couldn't help but draw comparisons between the two because the MCU is just so huge in the public consciousness. But like, yeah, I don't know. It should be fine. There's the scene where he kisses the tentacle, like he just bangs some tentacle monster. I appreciated that shot. I thought that was great. It's like, no, I'll call you. No, it's fine. I'll call you. It's just like, yes.
Yeah, that was good.
Have him fuck all the aliens. You want to redeem Guardians of the Galaxy, Maz? Have Peter Quill, aka Star-Lord, just be a sociopathic sex machine, just like porking his way through the galaxy. That's just please.
Yeah, I'm into that.
I tell you what I really want to know more about is the Final Fantasy Pixel remasters.
Yes.
Because seriously, for real, I'm being completely very serious. What the fuck does that mean? Come on. You showed screenshots of the games as they looked originally when they came out. But we didn't see anything about what a pixel remaster is. And it's not 2D HD. You have a name for that. It's a different thing. Okay? And it's not a regular remaster because it doesn't look like hot, weird garbage, which is what you normally do when you remaster a game. Although, I have been playing something that, strictly speaking, doesn't look like hot garbage and it's a Square Enix remaster. Anyways, point is, we have no idea what this is supposed to look like. And I know that they'll tell us in their own time and they'll show it off and they'll be like, look, it's a pixel remaster. But the fact that they haven't suggests to me that maybe is some dumb bullshit that nobody's going to really be all that excited about because it's coming out only for PC and for mobile, which tells me that visually it's not going to be a whole lot to write home about at best. And at worst, it's going to be like, we shined up each individual pixel. They look literally identical, but trust me, every pixel, God, we fucking gave it the scrub down.
God, I hope it's not that. I watched that trailer a couple of times, trying to glean any information I could from the slowly scrolling past, postage stamp sized games. And there were a couple things scrolling past that were widescreen and pixely. So,
and if that's it,
for me, if pixel remaster means like what they did for the PSP version of Final Fantasy IV, that would be great.
Yeah,
that's like that's the definitive. That's the definitive version of that game, in my eyes. But I recognize that there's an 80 to 85% chance that they are doing what you just said, James.
Honestly, if they just change the aspect ratio and make it so it looks decent on a big TV or a big monitor, that's fine.
Yeah, I'd pay for that.
Yeah. I won't because I played those games 100 times and I don't really need to do it again, but it's cool that they're out there if somebody can.
Yeah, I don't need to pay. I don't need to play them again either. I just happen to know myself.
If the version of Final Fantasy VI gets a lot of like shine and they're like, hey, somebody reviews it and like, shit, this might be the best version of Final Fantasy VI yet, I'll probably buy it because I love that game and I want to give it more attention and I want to talk to Square with my wallet about Final Fantasy VI at any time I get the opportunity. But beyond that, I don't know, I'm probably good.
James, you're probably the guy to talk to about this. What was your opinion on Stranger of Paradise, Final Fantasy Origin? Are you ready to defeat chaos?
Fuck no. It's a Ninja Gaiden game. I have no time for that shit. Absolutely not. Hardest possible pass.
Yes.
No.
I downloaded the demo and I played it.
Yeah.
It is almost exactly Neo 2. And I reviewed that game and I gave it a decent score because I recognized that it was a well-designed game. I fucking hate it. Hate it so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, it like, it's just like, I hate action games like that where there's like 100 things they throw at you, and it's just like you have to do all of them all the time. And it's just like, if you don't do all of them in the right sequence all the time, then every ordinary enemy beats you into a fucking smear. And I'm like, no, man, this goes right back to my Dark Souls argument. I don't have time for this shit. Just, I'm not fucking blowing Rails Adderall up my nose just so I can fucking get through a video game. No, just
Would you go for a handful of Quaaludes?
Oh,
I've heard the stories. I'd probably pass, but I
Okay. I
Yeah,
will say that the demo did give the option for an easy mode, a story mode. So I could see maybe blowing through that if they do some
sure.
drastic stretching of the Final Fantasy 1 story, which is basically nothing.
Yeah, that what they showed off in the trailer, it was like, there's some guys. One of them called himself a warrior of light. He used to be Garland, now he's Chaos. You basically know the story of Final Fantasy 1.
Yeah, that's it. There's some
You
nonsense
can
in the middle there where you go do some crystal stuff. But
Yeah.
that's it.
You go to you go on a shopping trip for some crystals. It's good that you have them. It's bad when you don't. And then you fight the bad guy. Boy, oh boy, that sure was the whole game.
Yeah. I mean, there are some tracks in there that really still slap. I don't know if you've listened to Matoya's Cave lately, but whew,
I have not.
it's a banger.
It's a banger. Okay.
Yep. So we've been talking for like an hour and a half. I feel like we should save the rest of E3 and the stuff we've been playing for next time.
Yeah, maybe in like another week or so, a little while, we'll have some more perspective, some distance, we'll have some idea of like what we really loved about it. My brain is still a tiny bit Swiss cheese and or pickles from the fucking 4 days I took off to just watch every press conference and read like a half dozen articles about it,
Yeah, I would really love to also play some more of that Yuffie DLC before we talk about it. But I've been playing some of it, and holy fuck, is that Fort Condor minigame awesome.
It's so good!
I love it.
It should be its own game, it's so much fun!
Yes, absolutely yes. 100%.
Yes.
Rhett, what have you got going on, buddy?
Yeah, just watching the rest of E3. Not much.
Okay.
But stay tuned. Maybe next week I'll have a little bit more going on.
Hey, and if either of you are looking for stuff to watch, there's one game that really caught my eye. I think it was on Day of the Devs. A little game called Unmetal, which is basically a complete and utter ripoff of the MSX Metal Gear games.
Nice.
Right down to the
Nice.
puns. It's
Interesting.
it's looking pretty good. So look that one up.
Alright, dope.
Well, folks, this has been Press X, the podcast. That's the podcast from your friends at COG Connected. That's us. And me. I'm Paul. That's James.
Yeah, hello.
That's Rhett.
Yeah.
We're the fellas. We do this podcast every couple of weeks or so. And if you want to see the stuff that we're doing in the meantime, in between podcasts, you can check out cogconnected.com. COG Connected on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all the places. Check out the stuff. Subscribe, like, hit the bell, thumbs it up, hit the heart if there is one, leave a comment. What am I missing? Give us your email. Send
Yes,
us
you just want it.
gifts and money. I don't know. Whatever you want. We're open to it. So if you come this
Leave
far,
it.
thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We do truly appreciate you. We'll be back right here in a couple weeks' time. Until then, take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.